What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Capsidon here, and I'm back with another video. And today, guys, we are talking about tag. I've made tag videos. I've graded with tag. I've recently even talked about how I'm predominantly selling tag slabs here at the shows here soon, because all you see is PSA predominantly at the shows, and I'm trying to do something different. So I feel like when I saw this video came up, I just knew I had to kind of talk about it. So today we're talking about a base set Charizard that was damaged in tag's possession. The creator that kind of brought notice to it, she's been uploading shorts up on TikTok trying to bring notice to it, because she felt like, I believe, she just wanted a resolution, which is understandable, especially because it was a base set Charizard and it was a card but it was her possession, from her childhood, right? So it has sentimental value, right? But we're gonna go through the videos because I haven't seen all the videos here, so we're gonna go through them together. I'm gonna give y'all my opinions on the whole situation, and then there has been a response from tag, which we'll get to at the end of the video as well. So let's take a look at this together, y'all.
So I came across these two cards from my childhood collection, and me and my boyfriend decided to send them in to tag just to get them slabbed and protected, keeping them from getting damaged in the future. We knew these cards were not going to grade very well. Was their initial scan, and this is how we received it. So it's a bit shocking. This is all of the specs, the details, straight from tag. As you can see, when it was initially scanned, the damage was not noted. It was not photographed or pictured in any way, and it did receive a score of a 7. There were some other, very minor defects on the card as well, but as you can see, the final result is a damaged base set 2 Charizard card. We have reached out to the local card shop owner that we actually submitted this through, and he did get in touch with tag. I don't think that he's actually had any correspondence with them, but he has heard from them and they are aware of the situation. So as of right now, we're just kind of waiting for a resolution. So this was our first card grading experience ever, and I definitely don't think we're going to be using tag again in the future.
So right there, and I'm gonna be kind of staying silent as we watch these kind of like shorts she's kind of made. I want you guys to get the full story from her, and sometimes when I'm watching these type of videos, man, I hate the interruption between them sometimes. So anyways, so you guys can see this is her first time she was grading with any particular company. She knew that the card itself wasn't going to get a 10, right? From the initial scans, you guys are able to see that that initial damage wasn't there, and eventually once the full grading process and everything's been sent, you can see that there is damage on the left hand top left corner, right? And from what it seems in the short, she says she has reached out to the shop owner where she graded it through, so they're kind of waiting on a resolution on it as of right now. And I can understand why, like as a first time grader, right? Never graded before, and this is your first experience, right? It could definitely put a damper on things, and I could definitely understand why she's not going to be giving tag another chance, right? Now, believe it or not, tag was actually my first time grading as well. I've never graded cards. For the first time I ever graded cards was with tag, and my experience was just phenomenal. I loved it so much. I made videos on it. So far and up until this day, all my experiences with tag have been phenomenal, but these particular things do happen. Unfortunately, that it had to happen to her. I don't want this to happen to anybody, but there are particular things in place, so in off chance things like these happens, they can't get a resolution. I believe the reason why this kind of got a little bit prolonged or got a little more exposure and she started making videos or shorts on it is because I believe, again, she wasn't getting a resolution, or she wasn't getting as fast a resolution, which eventually, once all this kind of came out, then she got a resolution, which we'll talk about at the end here. So let's go ahead and move on to the next video, because she makes another one following up with it, which blew up even more. So let's watch that.
This is going to be a quick update video for the base set 2 Charizard that I sent Tag to be graded and they mailed it back to me destroyed. As you can see, this is the before picture. This is the arrival scan as soon as Tag received the card, close-ups of the corner, and this is how they sent it out to me. So the fact that somebody looked at this, packaged it up, and mailed it back to me is insane. There also has been quite a few people speculating that this is a totally different card, but as you can see in the before and after pictures, the ink spot or ink defect right there in the corner is consistent. You can actually see this defect on Tag's original report. So far, Tag has reached out, but they are refusing to discuss any sort of compensation or resolution in this matter until they receive the card. They are saying they want us to send the card back to be regraded, and they have to analyze the card and investigate the situation. I did tell them I didn't really see the point in having the card regraded, being as it is now destroyed. It's not really worth grading, and they did respond. They're basically saying that they can't make any guarantee when it comes to the insurance noted in their terms of service because the protocol clearly states that they must receive the card or that it must be returned in order for them to take the next steps. And unless the card is returned, they can't make any promises or guarantees for how long a resolution is going to take. I do believe this is their attempt at damage control. But at the end of the day, they do not need a magnifying glass or to see this card in person to know how badly they fucked up. I'm leaning towards not sending the card back to Tag, mostly because I know that's not their protocol, and I've seen several cases where people have kept their...
Okay, so now this was her second update to it pretty much, or update to it, right? And now she's talking about how she got an update from Tag, got a response back, and how they have to get the card back. They said I guess from what she's stating, they want to take a look at getting it graded, have to open an investigation and kind of look into it, especially for insurance purposes and things of that nature, right? In there, right, you know, she says, hey, there's just no point regrading it as the card's damaged. And she also talks about the cases where I guess she knows where people have kept the defect card or the damaged card and they've been able to take care of the person, right? Now, when it comes to things like this, I know this might not be the popular opinion, but certain protocols does have to be met. And she did notice that. I mean, she stated that, like, in the video, like, hey, they wanted this to be back, to have open investigation. As a business, as a company, they have to do that. It's just for insurance purposes. It really is. And maybe it sounds like a cough out, but just take it from a guy that's worked in the corporate world. I worked in sales, I worked in the offices, all right? I've dealt with multiple claims, right? These particular things just have to be followed. As much as it is a drag to do it, it is just better for you to go ahead and follow the process and go through that route and fight to get your conversation, because again, up until that point, they just can't do it. It's not like it's a backdoor deal, right, where, all right, cool, hit my line up and we'll get it situated. Like, no, there's a particular channel that has to be particularly followed, right? But you know, again, when it's your first time grading, this is the experience, maybe, you know, especially because again, she did say this was her first time grading. You know, she might not be maybe too keen with the process, or, you know, just being upset about the whole situation in general, right? You know, I wouldn't really be keen on really doing much on my part either, which I completely understand. But like I said, I mean, at this part, to get a resolution, she's gonna have to unfortunately put in some extra effort into this, right? Now she does put a third update in about it here. Now, like every update she does, everyone gets like a little bit more and more views, man. It gets crazy. So here's the next update.
Guys, I have what is unfortunately the final update about my Charizard card. Tag is standing their ground, and they're standing really firm on the fact that I have to mail the card back to be regraded and re-encapsulated in order for them to issue any sort of refund, reimbursement, compensation. I have officially decided not to send the card back to Tag. There are several reasons why I don't want to send it back. First and foremost being I've already placed my trust in them one time and this happened. Second, they've already proven to me that their company as a whole lacks integrity and they are negligent. Third, this was never about money. We sent these cards out expecting the grade to be poor. The whole point was to preserve a piece of my childhood. And unfortunately, because they destroyed my card, there's nothing they can do, no amount of money that is going to make it whole again. It is not about the value. It is about the card for me. And at this point, I'm just trying to hold on to and keep what's left of it. This is my last email to Tag, letting them know my final decision to keep the card. To say the least, I'm very disappointed in their response and how they've handled this entire situation. So definitely think twice about who you're sending your cards off to.
So in the final update, right, she decided that, you know what, she's not going to send the card up to the Tag at all, right? She sends her final email on the whole situation, which I'm gonna look here through, and we're gonna kind of go through it together here, right? Again, guys, I understand where she's coming from, where she's frustrated on her cards being damaged, right? But policy just has to be followed. Like, I understand, like, trust has been kind of damaged, right? But for me, at least for me as a person, if I knew things happen, I kid you not, especially as a big company, multiple cards are coming in, things like these happen. And the same thing has happened with PSA, it's happened with CDC. These particular things happen. What I care more for is what happens after, right? Is the company willing to take and look and trying to make it right? Which at the end they did, which we're going to go ahead and cover, right? But, you know, the amount of probably effort that all this put in probably took more time and energy, because from every video it seemed like she got more and more angry and more frustrated, which again, I understand it's a personal card to her, right? I have certain cards I'd be super upset if got damaged too, right? But if I'm taking the emotion away from everything, right? I'm just taking the emotion away, right? What is going to be my path of least resistance, right? And in this case, I've had situations like these happen. I just follow policy. They've gotten a situation and everything has been good. Now I want to kind of look. So pretty much everything she was saying in the video, right, where she's kind of, you know, explaining everything, you know, how she's feeling about the whole situation, right? Now, again, if we're taking just the emotion out of everything here, right, at that point in time, she states that Tag doesn't have integrity, or they're not trying to make things whole, right? But, you know, I disagree with that, and I predominantly say that because, again, they have reached out. They're probably working with the shop owner. They've sent out email. They just need the card back, right? The process itself, again, there was probably more effort and more time and more stress that probably went into her doing these videos and having this all out and everything than actually sending in the card. I'm not saying everybody can handle the situation however they want, all right? But I am just saying from my personal experience, right, like the path of least resistance, right, at that point in time is taking a look of how they're going to make things right. And again, I understand how, like, the trust has been broken, so she doesn't want to send the card in. I'm thinking it might get worse, right? But, you know, my own experience with Tag customer service, they've been always fast on response time. They've always been willing to work and generally, for the most part, make things right? And again, they did make this right at the end, which we'll talk about there. But again, I definitely understand her frustrations, but I just can't imagine the amount of stress, time, and energy that she probably was just built in, you know, through this whole experience. I'm not saying any party is at fault or anybody's wrong. It's just the situation itself is just terrible. Eventually here, finally, I think there's one more update on here. So I guess there's another video here that she makes like 43 seconds. She wants to clarify a couple things. So let's watch that next.
To clarify something, a lot of you are bringing to my attention that Tag is saying they never asked me to sign an NDA. And that is true. They never asked me to sign an NDA. Up until last night, I had not heard anything from Tag at all. Despite sending them a Reddit message and email personally, Tag never responded to me directly. All of my correspondence and communication with Tag has been through other people. At some point, while reaching out to somebody who has a lot of experience with this, we were told to expect to sign an NDA because this is common practice. So because of that, it was a factor in making my...
So she talks about a video, I guess in this update, right, why she kind of decided to make the video and what's kind of been happening. She says she hasn't had direct communications with Tag. It's been through like other people, right? And in addition to that, there as well, I guess from, again, whoever her source is stating that with these particular situations, expect to sign NDA because they don't want these situations to get out of hand and ruin the company's reputation, things of that nature, right? Which I honestly can't say can or cannot be true, right? I've seen companies do these things, so I can't say that maybe could have been coming down the pipeline, right? But at the same time, for a situation like this, if I'm just thinking logically and from what I've seen in the corporate world and corporate America, I just don't think they were probably going to send her an NDA for this, or whoever her friend or her source was. They were probably thinking of a whole completely different scenario, which, again, I could be wrong. Again, I'm not saying I'm right. This is just my speculations. This is what I believe. But that's kind of how that kind of situation kind of went for her. That's kind of somewhat the last update we get from her, right? Now, when it comes to particulars on the Tag response, because Tag eventually does respond back to her, I guess in that email they also respond there, so let's actually see what that says. I guess this is just her writing everything down, so never mind, so I don't gotta read that. So there was an update from Tag, and Tag did ended up responding to this, guys, because again, as a company, of course, they want to take action and figure out what's going on, right? And the response from them, because they ended up responding on their X page here, and on their X page says, we want to clarify the situation. We truly are sorry for what happened to Mary's card. A solution was offered with a full resolution of refunding at fair market value without requiring the card back, and we also replaced it in the same grade to help with the sentimental impact. No NDA was ever requested. That was misinformation. We also reached out to the original submitter, a card shop owner, and offered a resolution to them before being connected with the owner of the card. By the time the video had already been made against us, a lot of misinformation has already gone out about this. Our policy has been an instance on regarding a card only to I think that says remove it from the slab to protect the integrity of the market. In this case, we make it an exception and offer both I'm sorry, man, my throat's getting dry reading all this here. A resolution replacement. We're glad that over 500,000 cards, and while mistakes are extremely rare, while they do happen on occasion, and things can and we'll do what we can to make it right. So again, pretty much what I was saying in this whole video. And again, I might get a lot of hate for this video, I'm not even gonna lie with y'all, right? But in this instance, right, she stated in the video that she didn't have direct contact with Tag, right? Because she did it with a shop owner, right? At that point, if I was in her situation, I probably would have found some way to get direct contact with Tag. That's usually the best way. So then you kind of know exactly what's happening and you can have direct contact with them. Now, speaking between people, right? It makes things difficult because you don't know if the information you're getting is true or not. Because again, from multiple videos that she was making, she was saying that I was hearing this, I was hearing that from multiple other people, right? Which just again probably brings her more stress and just more worry of what's happening, which ultimately at the end I probably understand why she decided not to go the traditional route of sending the card back and everything like that. I do believe this is a W for Tag in the sense that, like, hey, I'm glad that they were able to go ahead and still at the end of the day let her keep the card, you know, so offer a new card for the sentimental value impact, and then as well process a refund as well, right? Ultimately that could have been the resolution they could have gone to, you know, at the end, you know, maybe minus, you know, her keeping the card. But ultimately, right, again, integrity wise, right, I think they did what they had to as a company to take care of themselves. I think Tag overall as a company is a pretty decent company. You know, like I said, I've had multiple experience with them. I know had an issue. And first of all, for the people that are going to be watching this saying, oh, Kev is a Tag fanboy, he's glazing them, I'm like, bro, I've made videos calling them out. I've made PSA videos, Tag videos, and other things of that nature. So again, I have my opinions. Like I said, I'm just trying to take the emotion from this out and just trying to see it from a different perspective here. And in addition to that there as well, right, you know, when they think about that, right, you really got to think about it. Like, you really got to think about it. Like, there was a lot of misinformation. I mean, like an NDA, like I just didn't think that was ever going to happen. Somehow she knew somebody that says that was going to happen. Like I said, could be, could not be, I don't know. But in this particular case, I'm just happy at the end of the day, a resolution was able to come to the table. She could keep the card. She's going to get a refund, and as well as they're going to go ahead and send her out the same graded card, you know, for the sentimental impact, right? Which again, in this case, a lot of people say, hey, still sentimental, can't fix that, can make it a whole. But all I care about, again, taking the emotion out is what a company's willing to do at the end. And I think Tag has done what they can to get the situation rectified. But with that being said, man, tell me what y'all think about this situation down in the comment section, man. Do you guys think, you know, maybe my take on it is a hot take on, you know, do you guys think, you know, Tag did a good job in handling this situation? What do you guys think about the whole situation altogether? But I just thought it was something that came up to my radar, and I definitely need to talk about it since I do predominantly advocate Tag, you know, a significant bit. And in addition to that, there, you know, I'm selling Tag, I'm buying Tag a significant amount, so, and I'm grading Tag all the time. So it's just something I want to know, and I just want to talk about my personal experience because, you know, in some cases, I'm just saying, going through the proper channels might get your resolution. It just sucks because now there's like there's this like eyes on both parties, and there's just more things to it. I don't know, like, is this what it is, man? It's another situation, another day. There's always something happening in this community. So like I said, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. This has been your boy Kev Sided. Peace.